I actually spoke to somebody who's very close. It's in the Steve Young team. Let's put it like that.
Really?
And they said Steve Young literally really loves doing the show. It's not even an act. He likes doing it. Is that true, Steve?
Well, do you think everybody's a phony?
Yes, that's how I operate in life.
You assume everyone starts as a phony, and then they build back to like legitimacy in your mind. I mean,
that's the way I don't get hurt in life, Steve. I go into relationships thinking people are creeps, and then when they show me differently, I feel good. I'm never disappointed usually.
No way to live. No way to live.
Let's talk about some of these games over the weekend. Let's start with the one that ended last, and that's the Peyton Manning win. Everybody's knocking Manning. There were a lot of drop passes, and I don't think he looked like vintage Manning, but I don't think he looked that bad. What's your take?
It looks really obvious to me, but I'm thinking because I'm the only one really that I noticed saying it, maybe I'm crazy. But when he remember when he was on his comeback trail about 10 days ago, 2 weeks ago, there was a little video right when it broke about the unfortunate news, but he was out working out, and it showed him throwing the football. And I noticed that every drill, everything he did, every throw was he couldn't press into his right foot because it's busted, because it's hurt. And so every throw was kind of catapulting his body forward so he could put some mustard on it so he can get the ball out and everything he did. And so then I watched yesterday and it felt the same way. Like he really has to have some space to throw his body forward so because he can't actually get torque off of the back leg, which makes sense because it's a 9-month injury. It's not going to get better, but the great news is he can play. Now, if I'm Bill Belichick, I'm going to say to him, look, we need to collapse his pocket. We can't let him have space to catapult his body forward. We got to trap him back so that he has to actually put the weight back on that back leg and try to throw the football. And then he's going to be in a real bind. But as long as he has space, then he can kind of, you understand, he can come off of his back leg and just throw his body weight forward, and that can kind of get some torque, and he can throw the ball. But you can see that long balls, deep outs, stuff like that, they're really not going to make much effort to do. And so he's limited. And I think they're trying to make it so that it feels like it's normal.
So how can they win this game? How can they win the game against New England? Is there any chance, other than their defense dominating New England?
Look what happened yesterday. Pittsburgh was wounded. They didn't have the 35-point weapons.
But New England's not wounded.
They don't have the 35-point weapons either.
Right.
So they got guys, and there's got one big one, right? One guy that can catch the 3rd and 4, traffic, turn around and make space and create just those chain movers, the guys that you got to have in Gronk, and then he's also the guy that knifes through and makes it all happen. So they're going to put. I've always said Tom Brady's going to put up 21 points, no matter what. Doesn't matter where, wind, foul, weather, helmet away. Tom Brady's good for 21. In this kind of a game, that's going to be right on the Maginot line, for what Peyton's going to have to do. And so you have to have a smothering defense in Denver, which I think they can get. They can get that pressure on Tom. He has limited options. Try to get get him before the ball gets out of his hand too quickly. Limit the short throws. Tackle well. No cheap, because Tom's going to put the ball on people. I mean, he's going to put it in the right spot, right shoulder, so that a gain of 2 ends up being 8 with Tom Brady. A gain of 2 with everyone else in the league. And so if they tackle well, 3rd and longs, that kind of thing, and then a mistake or two, Peyton can lead this team. He's smart, and smarter than anyone ever played. So, it's very capable. He did it. He concocted a way to get through yesterday, got some breaks, got the fumble, but you could see at halftime, I was wondering myself, would you bench him at halftime? Because you can tell he's limited. But then you think to yourself, because they went with him early instead of being the John Wayne replacement, which I thought might be a better way to go through 4 weeks or 3 weeks of playoffs, not just one game. You gave me one game, I would say, Peyton, go start it, and we'll work it out. But with 3 games, I would do it the other way. But I know that's very problematic from the media sense and from everything else. So, I get it. But I wouldn't mind, if this, because the season's going to end in 30 minutes if things aren't happening. Yesterday was very risky. That game felt like it was a losing effort. It felt like this wasn't going to get done. But luckily, Pittsburgh didn't have the horsepower to go take advantage of it. And they ended up, and then being at home and getting the wind and getting everything happening, they ended up making the big drive and winning the football game. And that's what they're going to have that kind of thing happen the next couple of weeks to actually win a championship.
Steve, as you mentioned, he's so smart, and he knows that he's limited. But you just wonder, at that line of scrimmage, he reads the defense. Do you think he fools himself into changing a play, thinking, I'm 27 again, I can make this play?
Inevitably, on the edges, yes. He also recognizes there's throws that I just can't even talk about. So let's not even go there. But along the edges, for sure, every athlete's hyper-competitive and pushes the envelope and is over the line all the time. So, I mean, you can be as smart and calculated as you want to be. You're still just, in the end, Jason Bourne, right? You're going to do things that that's how you do it.